If you really want to just try a lot of different like alcoholic drinks, there's a company called Shaker and Spoon. It's
in Florida?
No, it's a subscription service.
Oh, interesting.
And they send you everything but the alcohol to make mixed drinks at home.
Oh, that's fun.
So I did that for probably a year. But the problem is they send you 12 drinks, and since without my in-laws in the house, it's a lot of like, it's a lot.
If it's not a good drink, it's a loss.
And so it's she doesn't drink that often. So it's just me, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to drink this 12 times.
No, that's a good point. They should really look into like a smaller subscription.
Yeah, but I mean, for what you're getting, like they've already kind of cut down like all the bitters, or like you get 12 drinks, but it's 3 different drinks.
Oh.
So like it's 4 drinks of each one. You get enough material to make 4 drinks of 3 different drinks. So that like.
Well, that's different.
Yeah.
But it's still a lot of drinking in one.
Yeah. I even have fancy
good ice.
I have fancy ice. Hello, good sir.
Oh, thank you, Garrett. Sorry about that.
All good, man. All good.
Depending on what you shot is if I forgive you or not.
What's up?
So depending on what you shot is if I forgive you or not.
We were mid-80s.
Oh, nice.
Okay, yeah.
No, that's good.
We were playing with it.
Here you guys go.
Woo.
I don't know. I let her make those decisions. I'm just here for a good time, guys. I'm just here for a good time.
All right, well, let's start recording, and then we can.
Yeah, and I'm in no hurry, by the way. So like, this can go 2 hours. It can go an hour and a half. Whatever you want to do, Garrett.
We'll go where it goes.
Yeah, it goes where it goes. Because this is the Assassin's Creed. We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
a lot has happened.
That's what I said last night. I was like, a lot has happened. This is unusual for us. Usually,
No,
I know. As far as like timing of like topic versus like world events, this is pretty.
This is a good one.
Pretty
Sorry,
good,
the
yeah.
office is pulled up right now. All the guys I just played with, by the way, they were like, dude, we'll subscribe. We are down. We're down to hit the subscribe. They're like, I don't know if we're gonna listen, but we'll subscribe. I'm like, that's what we want.
There you go.
Just give us
we need the listens. Just tell them to put it on mute.
Exactly. Put it on while you're driving. Put it on a playlist. It doesn't matter.
Welcome to Epic Screen Time, where we are 3 friends who discuss the things that occupy our screens. So grab your remote, popcorn, and controller, and let's go. I'm Garrett. I'm joined by my co-hosts Sam and Carter, and today we're talking about Assassin's Creed. And at no time does this specifically mean we're talking all about Shadows with all the new news that have come out for the first time ever. So let's start with, in general, Assassin's Creed. Actually, no, we got to start on the cocktail. Today we are having a Shirley Templar, which is grenadine, vodka, and there's one more item. Oh yeah, bitters. Some bitters topped with Sprite, and there is a grenadine heavy cream on top.
Okay.
Obviously, pictures will be in the show notes, so at no time do you need to worry about that. So give it a try, y'all. The glasses, by the way. I made it with Japanese vodka in relation to the Assassin's Creed Shadows game coming out, and it's in a Mount Fuji glass, also in relation to Assassin's Creed Shadows, and Mount Yote, which for Ghost of Yote, which was just announced,
That's
which is called Ito Fuji, because it's like Mount Fuji, just now in the Mount Fuji area.
Feels very on theme. Kind of reminds me of like a cherry blossom.
It does. Yes.
Yeah. You also have the red for the Templar Cross.
Yeah.
I chose
Shadows theme was red too.
It was.
I like it. Before we transition to the next topic, was that intro new? Guys who talk about what occupies their screen.
Yeah.
I thought that was smooth.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I just had to acknowledge that before we move past it.
I've been working on that. I've been trying to get the just like how do we get this going so that way we're more consistent. And I obviously skipped the drink until I saw it. So my first question, though, completely unrelated to Assassin's Creed. Is there a difference between scrambled eggs and fried chicken?
Ooh, scrambled eggs and fried chicken?
Because they're both fried chicken.
Oh, boy.
there's your tongue, your brain teaser for the day. We can move
chicken.
on. We can move
scrambled
on.
eggs. I would say there is a difference. It depends on who's in the kitchen. I love them both. They're both my preferred. I love fried. If I'm eating chicken, I want fried chicken. If I want if I want eggs, I'm eating scrambled eggs.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
that's fair.
They're both fried.
Yeah.
I respect that answer, Carter. I don't want to bring my politics into this conversation, so I'm not going to answer.
Do you not like chicken?
I will refrain from answering.
All right.
I do love chicken. I'm just kidding.
So, other than actually, you know what? I know what y'all are excited about this week. That was going to be the next question. What have y'all been excited about since the last time we saw each other? But I know what both y'all are excited about. PS5s. Pro. PS5 Pro.
Yeah.
I'll give
Yeah,
a
we can
little
talk
here.
about
Let's
it.
go.
Well,
All right.
also, it's a high and a low.
It is.
It's a high and a low.
So
It
damn
is.
expensive.
We're not going to tell Kaylee
Yes.
about it. Kaylee, I apologize. It may show up at the house, but
The charge came through. No, I mean, so this is 2 days after the PlayStation Pro pre-orders opened. Both me and Carter were trying to get the 30th anniversary, which only 12,000 made globally. Kind of ridiculously low, and they looked sweet.
they did.
I thought I saw something about Amazon was going to have some of those. So there might be another.
No, not the consoles.
Oh, okay.
They'll have some of like the actual pros. Like they're doing a release later for like the pros, like the standard ones. But the 30th anniversary, they're like gray, have the little red, blue, yellow, and
They look
green
sick.
logo. I mean, I'm a sucker for nostalgia. Like I'm
too,
literally
me too.
the demographic for biting on these things. But yeah, unfortunately, came up short.
No, look, that's where I was. I got into the queue and was ready to buy my 30th anniversary edition and was pumped, and then saw, as Sam warned me, it quickly sold out within seconds. And it took me about 30 minutes to get through the queue. And at that point, I was like, you know what? Let's just do it. So, yeah, got the Pro. I'm excited for it.
Same.
We'll see how long I enjoy it, but I'm excited going into it.
Yeah, it just can't justify the cost. Speaking of that, I just bought the PS5 mainly just to play
Yeah.
on the
No,
couch
I
with
get
the
it.
wife.
I get it.
Like the only game I'm looking forward to is Ghost of Yotei.
Yeah.
Like, that's it.
Yeah.
And I can't justify the cost of the Pro for a game that, like the Pro's not that much better
No.
than the PS5 for what I wouldn't want. Like I just want like the beauty, so it's not going to change anything.
Yeah.
That's
like,
me.
I'll give me 60 frames a second and beauty. I'm fine. I don't need the quick
Which
response
that's what
time.
the Pro's going to do.
Right.
So that's where I would go. Let's
So
just
they're
get the
shooting
Pro.
for
It's
it.
going to
Right.
do 60 no matter what. Because I'm playing, like, I got Black Myth. I was pumped for it. I had
Yeah.
a buddy who bought it. We do the PlayStation Share stuff. I got Act 2 into it, and like,
Same.
dude, the frame rate just shot down. And that's where I'm like, I can't
Very
enjoy
rough.
this on the PlayStation anymore.
Yeah.
And so that's where I was like, okay, GTA is coming out. There's some other stuff, just PlayStation exclusives that I would like to see how they do
Yeah.
in regards to, hey, this is our PlayStation Pro. Let's just see how decent some of
Yeah.
the quality is. That's what got me into it. If you have a PlayStation 5 and you're happy with it, you do not need to get.
You're not the market
No,
for this.
no. For me, I wanted better. Okay,
Yes.
I
want
want better
frame rate.
too, but
Yeah.
like I just can't justify $800.
That's fair. I'm selling my
For-
5. If anybody wants
So
it,
just so
hit me
the
up.
just so the audience knows, Garrett has a 4090.
Yeah.
So like a $3,000 computer.
He is
No,
gaming.
I only bought it for $1,500.
See, even still, like,
Then
look,
that was stolen.
yes,
No.
And you bought it from someone who stole it.
Nope, I bought it straight from Nvidia.
which is what it look 1,500.
Wait, the
for
graphics card or the computer?
The graphics
the
card.
graphics card.
We're saying the whole computer.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And the PS5 is pretty much, it'll do everything you want. And here's the thing.
But the computer will play 10,000 more games, and
Sure.
I can do 1,000 more things on it.
It can.
And it will last 1,000 times longer. I bought it before the PS5 came out. The only thing I've done is upgrade the 4090,
Yep.
and so that way I will still write it. Like I'm getting 250 frames per second on Cyberpunk,
Okay.
Warzone. Like I'm
See,
getting
that's
so,
what
like,
you want.
I mean,
There's
you're
no
gonna
reason-
have a better experience.
Exactly.
Yeah,
You do
yeah.
not need. You
Yeah.
don't need to get it.
But it depends. Like for me, I'm at a point in my gaming career where what I get the most excited for is the narrative-driven single player,
Agreed.
mainly
Same.
Sony exclusive games. And if getting the Pro means that I can play the next God of War at 4K 60 with a little bit of ray tracing versus the regular PS5, it still can do 4K, but it's going to be upscaled from like a different, like a lower internal resolution. That's what sells me on it.
That's fair. I'm not disagreeing. And like I think if you already have a PS5, it's just not worth the cost. Granted, both of you guys already have PS5s, so
look,
you buy.
I agree. I was sitting here going, "Am I going to upgrade my PC or am I just going to buy the next PS5?" I went the PS5 route for now. I'll upgrade the PC in the next 6 months, and like that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got, I mean, GTA
Look,
6.
hey, the new
the
console
the
comes out in a
5090
month.
will be out by
Yes.
then.
Okay, we'll just wait a little bit. We'll wait a little bit. We'll wait till next year.
And are we sleeping on the Switch too?
Is it coming out?
For sure it is.
Well, it is.
Dude, those
That's-
leaks are
Because
as,
the leaks were. You're our Nintendo.
the leaks. Yeah, that was a whirlwind of a day. I sent
It
I
was.
sent a screenshot to these guys because I'm all about leaks. Like it gets me excited. But the whole back and forth of there's this big leak in China of the manufacturer who's making the Switch 2. There was like CAD scans, the board, everything supposedly leaked. Then like 2 hours later, a reporting source said it was fake, and then 2 hours later they said no, it's actually real. So it was a whirlwind of a day. But the consensus now is that those leaks were real. Is pretty much where the internet has landed. So exciting stuff.
It is exciting. I don't know what exclusives the Switch 2 is going to be able to come out to get me to go, I want to go buy that. But
Okay.
The fact that they're sitting here going, look, the Switch 2 is going to be able to do what the PS4 Pro did,
Yeah.
gets me excited. Going, you know what? I'm cool with that. That can be my
Technologically,
handheld.
I'm cool with it, but I just
Same.
like I don't think Nintendo's brought anything to the game. Like Zelda being the like there's no. My problem with Zelda is that it logically it hasn't changed. It's still and like I liked it as a kid, but I want Idris Elba's face yelling at me. I want I want that. I want the emotional beats to have actual emotional beats. I don't want to have to read the conversation. Like I turn on subtitles because I'm deaf, not because I want to read it. For me,
I get that.
Like that's where Zelda the gameplay's always been fun. Granted, I haven't played in probably a decade or two, but
You care more about narratives
Yeah.
in your single player games.
Yeah.
I get that.
I want to back up just a little bit to talk about the PS5 Pro and GTA. First off, IGN is a shill, and I as soon as it was announced, I watched one video. They're like, "It's going to be great. It's going to be the best gaming system to play the big game like GTA," which is going.
Which it will.
However,
At launch.
Sony says it will not be able to run GTA 6 at 4K 60 on the PS5 Pro.
I'm okay with
They
that.
didn't say that.
I'm not looking for 4K 60, and that's just me.
This is IGN's comment that links directly to that article.
Probably not experts say. No.
But
At least read the article. So let me, because I
Digital
know
Foundry,
all about
it's your
this.
boys.
I know all about this. So what Garrett just showed is the Digital Foundry screenshot that said likely not. The specific thing that they said was if the PlayStation 5 cannot play GTA at 60 frames per second, the PlayStation 5 Pro is not going to magically be able to. The reason is because that gap to get from 30 to 60 really comes down to the CPU bottleneck, and the CPU is not changing on the Pro. So case in point
Which is why it's not worth
Right.
the $800 to buy a new one, in my
Well,
opinion.
Well, for the
but if
older
the game
stuff,
is
I
already
wanna-
playing 60 FPS, but it's at like 1080p and it looks rough, then you can get it at 4K 60.
Right.
That's fair.
Every video that has come out over the last week of like breakdowns of game by game, it's undeniable the improvement that it makes. Like the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth improvement is insane. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's just like it literally looks like a console leap. And I think that's kind of the place where we're at now, where
They should have done it. It should be the PlayStation 6.
Well,
at this point in time, we're what, 5 years?
it
since
gets
the
into a
launch?
fun conversation of where do consoles really evolve from here? Because I mean, realistically, we're not going to be getting 8K games.
I don't think
And
that-
nobody
don't
really
think we
wants
want
that.
that.
There's
No,
not a
agreed.
demand. What we want is just 4K games that run well. Well, we're already kind of getting there at some places. Some games can't do it, some can. But it's like, where does the sales pitch come into play? Where it's like the PlayStation 5 6 can play more games at 4K 60 versus the PlayStation 5 Pro can play some of them. It's like we're really starting to get into that territory of the upgrade path seems a little bit more blurry for some of these home consoles, which I just think is going to be fun to watch.
I think I also think that pre Outlaws and everything that's happened in the last week, I think the world believed that multiplayer games were more important and people would rather have a higher frame rate than good visuals. Like people, like I've seen people tank it so that way there's no grass and they can see through the grass.
do.
I mean, I would agree with that. I go for frame rate. Anything I play, it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
go for frame rate over quality. I'm playing on an OLED. I'm playing on a decent PC. I go for quality and just performance than I do
Right.
the frame rate at the end of the day. So I would agree with that.
Yes. And it's funny you even say that because that's literally how Mark Cerny opened up the PlayStation 5 Pro presentation, the technical one. And he's like, they have the data. this many, because they give players options in their games. Hey, you have your Fidelity mode, you have your performance mode. They said 3 out of 4 players choose the performance mode, which is cool to think that even like a casual gamer playing God of War prefers to have 60 FPS.
That is interesting.
Versus 30 FPS at 4K.
Yeah.
So, no, I mean, there's facts to back up
Yeah.
that point that you're making.
And I think that kind of brings us more naturally into talking about Assassin's Creed, starting in the beginning, 2007.
Let's see, where was that in 2007?
You were what, 7?
I was.
You were
I was
11.
11.
11.
That's crazy.
I joined the Marine Corps that year,
Man.
or the year after. So
Did you join the Marine Corps out of high school?
I was 19.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
but yeah, no. So Assassin's Creed came out in 2007, sold 8 million copies.
That's really good.
That's a lot more.
That's
than
better than I thought it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
The budget was $20 million, and games back then were like $50 a pop,
yeah.
$40 a pop.
or were they?
49.
Okay.
Yeah.
49.
49.
So I mean, they made good money off that. Assassin's Creed 2, which this is honestly the real surprising thing to me. Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations were 977
9 million?
copies sold,
Okay.
and then 7 million copies sold, and 7 million copies sold. And I think I know why. I vividly remember when Brotherhood and Revelations came out, someone told me they were just really long DLC. Nope. They were their own game, and I think that's maybe that's how it was pitched. I didn't really look into this. I just remember I don't think I played it until just before 3 came out. I don't think I played Brotherhood or Revelations until then, because I thought they were just DLCs that were overpriced at $50 a pop.
Do you have right now how many copies 3 sold? Because I feel like the power of numerals.
12.
See,
12 mil.
12 million copies sold.
and at AC3,
loved
I feel like I mean, it was still good, but I think comparatively to Brotherhood and Revelations, reviewed worse.
Yeah, but people hated 3. Like people, like I think Connor's just a terrible protagonist.
He's probably my least favorite out of the.
But he is
gang.
fighting with the tomahawk and the
Was-
blade
I mean, it was
the
super
best thing ever. Like that's what I
Yeah.
wanted.
Just a really random note. My mom has never watched me play a game except for Assassin's Creed 3.
Really?
I don't know what it was about the historical setting when she's like, "This is so interesting."
That's awesome.
I think that's, and like I think we'll kind of talk about that down the line. But I think that's what has kept me in this, because this is by far my favorite series. Between this and Mass Effect,
Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed is my favorite game series of all time.
Wow.
Because pre 3, or from 1 through 3, so Brotherhood and Revelations, you had this perfect blend of history and modern day.
Yeah.
Like the modern day was an addition. Like it had its own suspense, and like there was, oh crap, what's going on? Like there was mystery to it, versus 4 and afterwards it's gotten really murky.
Was his name's Damien, right?
Yep.
Was Damien after 3? Like, was he in any other games?
He died in 3.
Okay.
Yep.
Hey, spoilers, obviously. That game came out in 2012. So,
If you don't know that by this point, you're,
yeah.
Sorry.
I was like,
No, you're fine.
major spoiler. Like, oh, by the way,
Well, I mean, it came
It's
out
super old game.
12 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's 2024, and it almost legitimately 12 years ago.
yeah.
It's become out longer than you were when you first played it.
Yeah,
you
that's
know?
crazy.
So I think that's where, in general, the line is, because after that, you got
When you say the line, you mean like when it got worse for you, or you think worse in general?
I think worse in general.
Okay.
And I the asterisk to that statement is Black Flag, because I know everybody loves Black Flag.
Yeah.
I hated Black Flag.
Dude, I liked Black.
I
Flag.
liked the gameplay. But I thought that's where they started this whole idea of, oh, you can play as a non-assassin to support the assassins. No, the whole point of the assassin's game is to be an assassin.
Yeah.
Conway's not an assassin. Avar's not an assassin. Like I think that just ruined it for me, because like I wanted that.
Was a
assassin
huge
story.
shift of the formula.
Yeah, and also I think riding around on a boat to get everywhere took way too long. Like I love the she shanties. I enjoyed the fights, but it being the primary means of getting from A to B, and the world getting so big, that is where I think everybody started to make these huge games where like,
Yeah.
open world just get bigger and bigger and bigger, and I think it got too big.
So do you dislike Odyssey for the same reasons because boat travel is pretty heavy in that game as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm excited for us to get into it more because Odyssey is my favorite.
I loved it. Odyssey was
AC,
my favorite. Same.
yeah.
Same.
So before let's get into this. But you said your mom watching you play Assassin's Creed was probably your first experience with Assassin's Creed.
No. It's not my first.
Okay.
I played it all. I played one through.
Okay.
Where I really stopped was at what was before Unity? Syndicate.
Black Flag
And then Unity is where I
and
stopped.
then Syndicate.
Yeah, Unity is where I stopped.
And Rogue and Syndicate.
Yeah. Yeah, technically Rogue as well.
I do. Rogue is such a weird game. Well, you know what? Screw it. Yeah. Hey, what was your
No, that's fair. So I got into it going to a friend's house, middle school, high school, either 8th grade, freshman year, going to a friend's house with introducing to just Assassin's Creed in general and going this whole, hey, you can run on the city, you can climb up this wall and then jump down and assassinate
cool.
somebody. Wow.
Was it one?
It was one.
Okay.
It was the first one.
Okay.
And so that got me
from the hay
introduced to it.
barrels?
I played few and far between until it got to Origin.
Okay.
Origin is what got me back into the trilogy, or what got me back into Assassin's Creed. Because I played 1 and 2, kind of fell off there. Saw the new one with Ezio, where he was older and he was able to come back. And I played the demo of it, didn't love it, but it was okay. Got back into Origin.
I think the Tower Defense ruined Revelations. So
Revelations was my least favorite of the Ezio trilogy.
Okay.
it was most people's.
Was it?
Yeah. Just based off the numbers.
Yeah. Have y'all, just a side tangent, have y'all seen gameplay of AC1 recently?
No.
I played it maybe 2 years ago.
How rough is it?
Okay, I'm interested to hear your thoughts because I think it looks rough.
It definitely does look rough. Like that.
Did it play rough?
No.
Interesting.
The PC version has been somewhat optimized.
Okay.
But going back and playing like on the 360 version on like the emulator that they have built into the Xbox now, I've heard it's horrible. But the PC version, you can manipulate things just a little bit to make it run a little smoother.
Okay.
Like you can get your performance type deal.
Yeah.
You can turn off the that heavy, like that coloring that got going on, that gray coloring. You can turn that off.
Okay.
And that helps a lot.
Because the first one didn't really have a combat. It was like you either go in and assassinate somebody or you got to run before everyone just overtakes you.
Yeah, and I think that's...
It reminded me of Mirage, I guess, if that's...
I see.
I haven't put enough time into Mirage, but...
I hated Mirage.
No, agreed.
Which is so funny to me.
Mirage
because
is
Mirage was marketed as like, you like the original trilogy.
Exactly.
Here's what you get.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it was a completely pointless story.
Oh, okay. I see. I know nothing about the story.
So did you play Valhalla?
I did. Yeah, okay. I didn't beat it, but I did play a good amount of it.
It's the guy in Valhalla that you meet.
Basil?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's him.
He's the assassin. He's also Loki to fill in. So like you're Odin.
Yep.
He's Loki, and you left him to die when the apocalypse happened from AC3, and he killed Tyr to take Tyr's spot in the the reincarnation thing that they got going on.
Yeah.
And Mirage is just how Basil and Loki came together.
Yep.
Like it's a completely pointless story that I think was like, hey, I already knew this. Like I appreciate being able to play the old school way. I wish you would just taken that time. Like there should have been a DLC and not a whole.
That's yes.
Like it.
Yes.
It should have.
Which I think.
It was
supposed
to.
That's what it was.
Yes.
Rumor had it was supposed to be a DLC, and then it came out as, oh no, this is going to be our next game, and it's like, do not do that. And they took everything away.
They took the same mechanics from Valhalla and just tweaked them a bit. So like it still had the really crappy like, oh, you jump forward, no, you jump straight down.
Yeah.
So like all the things that were good about one, where like you would run and leap, you don't have that mechanism anymore. Weird. So the parkour was still down. So AC1 was my second game ever. My first one was Oblivion. Like
you never played a video game before Oblivion.
I didn't. Correction. I played when I was like 6. We had an original Nintendo.
Okay.
And we would play Mario and Duck Hunt and Micro Machines, whatever. My mom, when my oldest brother left the house, my mom took it and gave it away to someone else. And I've never had a system in the house.
Whoa.
Until probably 2006-7.
Yep.
2006. I bought, actually it had to be 7 because I bought
360 dropped in 07.
Yeah, so I got Oblivion, and then Assassin's Creed. So like
Interesting.
that was like so that's where you know
So
I
it's
got back
it's
into
got a close tie with
Yeah.
you in gaming.
I also like we know now that it originally was supposed to be this like Prince of Persia spinoff.
Yep.
But the story just didn't fit, and so they were like, all right, let's just revamp the whole thing. And we're gonna like I have it in the notes to talk about later, but I think that idea of like, oh hey, this doesn't really work, let's just spin it off to make its own game, is why I'm okay with the delay of AC Shadows.
Interesting.
Because I think that means, hey, we're close, but we need to make it right. And I'm cool with a delay for that reason. And like I said, we'll talk about that later, but like that, and then the hidden blade is a real weapon from Persia.
Oh, that's cool.
Whoa.
Okay.
You didn't have to lose a finger to do it, but
That makes it better.
there is designs for it.
I mean, that seems so
art-
practical.
cool.
I
Yeah.
totally believe
Yeah.
that.
So
That's cool.
we're gonna move on to the good, the bad of AC and Ubisoft because we can't divorce the two to talk about it because they did some great things
Yep.
and some good things and some terrible things, but they're reverting some of those terrible things. So I don't know how it is. But before that, where do we put the movie?
I actually have never seen it, so I'm gonna with Michael Fassbender.
Yep.
Yeah, never
Yeah.
seen it. So.
I mean, I saw it years ago. I thought it was okay. I thought it was better than some of the other video game based movies we get nowadays, but I've only seen it once, so I need to go back and rewatch it to really give a true opinion.
I rewatched it recently.
Okay.
And knowing that it is referenced in Origins, I'm cool with it being a little like side story in the universe, but not tied to the Ezio. Like the whole like the doctor in the movie, she's friends with the modern day protagonist that you play in Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla.
Cool.
So like that's the tie. It's in the little notes
That's
you can
cool.
get out in the modern day world.
Okay.
So in general I think it fits. Like like Abstergo's a $1 billion company, they're going to try different things to rule the world. So like I'm cool with it. Like it was a little fantastical at times, sure, but I'm cool with it. Like
When did it come out?
oh god,
I remember as far as like timing with like gaming related entertainment.
2016.
Okay.
2016.
Okay.
It was really early on as far as this game is doing really well. Let's try and make a movie or a show out of it.
That's fair.
I think a show would have done better
Yeah.
because they don't really talk about like what the apple is very well. Because like the whole point of the movie is they're trying to get one of the apples of Eden,
Oh, okay.
and they just don't talk about it really well.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the good things first, because those are probably some of the things we often overlook because we just hate Ubisoft in general. So open world design, first one, AC. It was the like first real open world game you had going on. Granted, you had like major like loading screens in between like
This point to that point.
that going into a city and outside the city in the I think they called it like the frontier. No, that's AC3, like the wilderness or whatever they called it. You also get this little nice of like bringing history into, like a game. Like it's not just made up history like Warhammer 40K or, Call of Duty. It's legitimate history and just taking characters and giving them a more richer story because we just don't know enough. And like even the assassins in general, we just don't have a lot of information about where they came from. We know they exist. How's your Crusade history?
Not good.
Non-existent.
Okay, so
Non-existent. Yeah. Not just not good. Non-existent.
so the Third Crusade was about Richard the Lionheart trying to retake the Holy Land from the Muslims, and Saladin was the kind of Muslim leader. During his times, we have his memoirs. He talked about the leaders of the assassins coming to him, sneaking into his tent in the middle of a war zone, and putting a pedal and leaving a note saying, "Hey, if you don't kill Muslims, we won't bother you. We believe in your cause." And so they kind of let him ride, which was unusual because they kind of went for anybody. So like it's this really nice blend of like you get the real people from the Crusades and those, we get parkour put parkour on the map, took it away from France.
I mean, before you move on from the historical piece, I definitely think that's the strongest aspect of the AC series in general. I can't really think of another game that said, hey, let's make this extremely accurate depiction of historical, area, historical events, historical characters, and let's like, let's throw you in the sandbox and you can have fun and you can have, significance and be this assassin. I loved how they did that.
Yeah.
And it's such a great idea because of how engaging it can be. Like I said, my mom, who doesn't give a rip about games, stopped and watched just because the historical accuracy was cool for her. And it's dynamic. It's flexible. We can do like Ezio. What was it? Italy? Is that where all Ezio is in?
Yep.
We can
Italian
do America with Assassin's Creed 3. It's just so dynamic to where you can change all the different areas, different pieces of history.
Yeah, I definitely, that was the other thing, like cultural impact and historical tourism came from this. And I'm like, I've never once done a historical tourism. However, thinking about it, I do remember a meme going out years ago about like a class trip in Italy. They got lost, and a kid who played the AC2 game supposedly was able to get them back to where they needed to go because he had played the games
That's cool.
so much that he knew the general route. He knew the general direction that they needed to go.
That's crazy.
And I can believe it because
I can too.
You spent so much time in
So
Rome
much, yeah.
running around. So like I think that's really where like taking real life events and places that I think the AC games, even in games I do not like, have allowed me to understand like the kind of the cultural reference, like looking at Odyssey and the, Black Flag, the ones I don't like the most, but I understand the Caribbean a little bit more. I understand, the Mediterranean Sea a bit more, and also just being a, like the Marine Corps drives the Spartans into your brain like a champion. Getting a visual concept of that and being able to, it being relatively close enough that you understand the mechanism of how the 300 stood up against Xerxes, like that's cool.
Yeah.
And so I think it is because of this game that we get Zero Dawn, Witcher 3, and all these other massive, even GTA.
That's bold.
The open world design, I think the idea that it was so accepted by the community for this one game that had, that was so like small, honestly, I think is really what put that ripple into the world. That's my theory.
See, I won't give them credit for open world design.
I won't either.
I was,
What's another open world game before that?
Ocarina of Time, Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
Oblivion, Xbox.
Mario,
Morrowind.
Nintendo 64.
That's okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
But-
I mean, you had GTA.
GTA 3.
Even
GTA 3?
GTA.
When was that? When was
Rockstar
that?
years ago was doing the open world.
Right, Bully.
Yeah.
But I will say one thing you talked
Bully.
about.
Gross.
You didn't like Bully?
I never played it. I've heard I haven't played it. I need to.
I never owned it because my mom wouldn't let me own it.
Yeah,
but I
yeah,
played it at
That's
friends.
fair.
I played it at friends.
I've played parts of it.
Okay.
The GTA games have always been really hit or miss for me. Like,
No, I'm right there. Look, I'm right there
You're
with
there,
you.
there.
I'm right
Oh,
there with
the
you.
Rockstar-
GTA.
I
I loved Red Dead. I loved GTA 5 because that's whenever I was an adult and go buy a game on it. Like, dude, I owned GTA 5 when it was on 360, Xbox One, and like now we're on the third series of it and we're still playing the same game.
Right.
I've owned all different versions of it.
Yeah.
It's been great. They did a great job with the open world.
agreed.
Yeah, and so, but anyways, just to
Yeah, I think like GTA was such a very divisive game because like at no time would my parents even pretend to buy me that game.
And I mean, even Fable 1 or 2,
Yeah,
but
I feel like that was
they were
open. I don't know
hard.
if that was before.
Those were hard loading screens, though. They were very, very small segmented areas.
Okay.
GTA 3, I did not realize that came out in 2001.
Super old. I mean, all the PS2 GTA, San Andreas. What is the other one I'm missing? There's 3 San Andreas.
Yeah,
Vice City.
Vice City, thank you. But
that was the first one I played.
was it?
3 in Vice City, yeah.
What I will give credit for, coming back to the AC positives, is making stealth fun, which I think changed stealth in gaming going forward.
Agreed.
Because if you think about it,
And then
I'm
they
trying
killed
to think about stealth games before that. Like there's stealth
Perfect Dark.
sections, Perfect Dark. That's a good example.
But if you
Splinter
even
Cell.
count that,
But
But
Splinter
there are
Cell's
more-
all on its own. Like that's a whole
Yeah.
different
Exactly.
stealth
you
mechanism.
got Metal Gear 2, but like that's even
Yes.
still
But
that's
Metal
on its
Gear
own.
2 is like if you get caught, you're screwed, and you really have to
Exactly.
be like hold down,
Yes.
point the gun. AC was the first one. It's like not only are you going to be hidden, but like people should be scared of you when you're hidden. Like you're this huge predator that you're in a bush, you got a great chance to kill someone. It's not just you're trying to avoid people. It's like I'm avoiding people and I'm planning on killing you, which I felt like was very different versus most stealth games before them. And it just made like that game loop of, okay, I'm going to, some AC games, I'm going to disguise myself as someone, that fits in this crowd. I'm going to make sure that this person's alone, kill them. Or I'm in a bush, I'm going to call them up to me. As soon as they get close, I'm killing them and hiding the body. I feel like that game loop that they figured out with AC1 was super influential just for stealth in general in games.
And even just to piggyback off of your comment, Garrett, on AC kind of pushed the open world to the next level. I went back and played, or I say I went back, in college I was playing what was the pirate, or what was
Black Flag.
Black Flag. I was playing Black Flag, texting one of my buddies going, man, do you realize if you just go to this island, you might find something there that isn't on the map. You might find something there that isn't like an objective that you have to go to, but there could just be something there.
Yep.
And you unlock something new, you find something new that you can put in your inventory, whatever it is, and it's like, oh wait, this is kind of cool. And it opened in an open world game, I can just go explore. I can just go search through the entire map. I can go find something that may not be a point on the map that I can unlock.
Even a side mission.
Exactly. Right. And that's, that kind of took me to appreciate the Assassin's Creed.
Totally.
Yeah.
Great point. Yeah, rewarding you for exploration that's not a part of a main quest line or even a side quest line.
Exactly.
And I feel like games now, there's some games that have perfected that, like Elden Ring and Breath of the Wild have like really perfected that concept.
I haven't played a game like that
really
in years. I mean, since
AC.
Since Valhalla.
Okay.
I mean, there's been other Assassin's Creed games that did that, but like Assassin's Creed still hits that point perfect. Or if you just go explore, you're gonna find something that wasn't highlighted on the map. Exactly. Something that rewards you from just going to explore the map. And not a ton of games do that these days.
No.
Even The Witcher. You go back through and you play The Witcher, you got to be the right level. You're gonna come across something that's gonna be 10 levels above you and go, oh, I can't do this yet. Let me just put a marker here. I'll come back here in 15, 20 hours.
People hated that about Origins. So the little like level zones in Origins, I was like,
I'm
cool with that.
True.
I was okay with that. That is, I feel like that's been the typical Assassin's Creed formula since Origins of like, hey, we're going to put a little level scale on here where you need to be at least this level to be able to defeat this creature, this boss, whatever it is that's here, and then move on to the next point.
Yeah, I will. One of the I think that's maybe that is kind of where my mind went with the open world. Is like, is there definitely was like I think a lot of the open world games, like we'll talk about Outlaw specifically.
Okay.
The open world. And mainly because it's done so poorly, and it's the major reason they're making changes on AC Shadows. The open world was just fetch quest. Like, there was no point to it. I agree. Everything you went out there was for cosmetic. It didn't have anything. Like you didn't get a better blaster out of it. You didn't get a better speeder out of it. You got nothing but cosmetics. So there was no point to the open world other than just to be like, oh, I'm on Tatooine. Let me just drive around. Which, by the way, there was no life on the planets, and I think. Like Black Flag, as much as I hated boat travel, the ability to just go to a random island, and there being like things on there or sharks in the water, the dive bell system, super ingenious.
It was cool.
Yeah, and
it's dynamic travel too. Like I don't know what's gonna come up on me. Like I always got to be on my A game. You can't just kind of zone out.
Yep.
And between Black Flag and I think Odyssey and Origins really kind of perfected this was this idea of the hunters coming after you.
Yeah,
I love the idea of being hunted. Like Odyssey, especially like the gladiators coming after you. Like I love that being in the middle of like I'm taking out a what is that? Like a castle area or fort, and then all of a sudden like 2 or 3 of the guys that are hunting me are in the same fort. I'm like, crap! I got my game just got so much harder.
Yeah.
I love.
Did y'all ever play Middle Earth? Shadow.
Yeah,
that's literally where my head went with like the captain, the captain design. Which it is pretty similar, but I loved that in AC because it's like you start to get into the kind of the minutiae of okay, I'm going to go into this base. I gotta hide. I gotta start taking
Right.
people out one
What
by one.
could happen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then you see that little red marker on your base. This guy's looking for me actively. So now, like, I got a whole other dynamic aspect that I got to be on the edge for. So
Yep, I agree.
Yep. So let's move on. What was before we move on? Favorite part of any of the games, like what, or the games overall? What has been your favorite parts of the AC games?
can I say a like favorite part answer and then like a hot, like probably wouldn't be my favorite part, but like a hot take, like underrated favorite part?
Sure.
Okay. I would say like favorite part, honestly, kind of the final missions and the mainly 2 and Brotherhood, like the Ezio series.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought they had like really nice story conclusions, both like with Damien and Ezio kind of going back and forth. I thought they juggled that really well. And then my hot take is the Brotherhood multiplayer.
I loved the multiplayer.
I think it's really
Ooh,
slapped
okay.
so
on.
so good.
Yeah.
It is so good.
So much fun.
Yeah. Especially
Yeah.
if you had friends, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
like I played it against my brother, and it's one of the few games other than Call of Duty, we ever played, and
But
even
yeah.
then, he didn't really play that. But like we would play that, we could play that for a long time.
So
'Cause
good.
Did you ever play it?
No, I
Okay,
did not.
so
Okay.
the idea was that the world, it's a very small world, like
Like a town. Just think
yeah,
about
like,
like a town.
a small
Okay.
town. But there's only like 6 character models in there, and you're the assassin. You're in your normal model, but the other players are one of those random things. So it's like Among Us, like the early day Among Us. You got to walk around and pretend that you're a normal NPC.
Okay.
And you can talk in like a crowd of
It's like the
groups.
Halo Predator mode back
Yes.
in the day.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's like you have someone
figuring
you gotta
out
kill,
who is trying
and
to kill
someone's
us.
trying to kill
Okay.
you.
Yeah,
That's
and if you
cool.
kill an NPC, you lose points.
Oh.
So you got to be watching everybody's movements.
Wait, that's cool. I would have.
It was
I would have
awesome.
loved that. I would have
Yeah,
loved
it was
that.
really
Okay.
fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Well, just from not playing the Brotherhood, hearing about that, I would have loved it. I think my favorite like experience that like I came across was, and this might have been Assassin's Creed 2 when Ezio comes across. Is it? It's some great inventor. He's trying to get a
Leonardo da Vinci?
Leonardo. Thank you. He's trying.
I'm rolling my eyes with the fact that Carter
No, you're
doesn't know
good.
Leonardo.
Sorry.
da Vinci.
It's,
He
guys,
knows it. It's just
it has
forgetting
been
who it
years.
was.
I was going to
I
say
know.
Leonardo DiCaprio, and I'm like, I know that's not him. I know that's an actor. It's some famous inventor. After that point, because I loved how they introduced just like
Real people.
yes, and they brought back a
Machiavelli.
real historian, somebody that actually benefited to our time. Like, hey, look, this is what they were actually thinking about when everybody else was thinking about how are we going to go do this. This is how they were inventing. This is
Yeah.
how they were trying to forward just civilization. So I love that aspect. After that point, it would probably be the wanted or hey, this bounty hunter's coming for you. That was introduced in like Odyssey. So
Right.
yeah, or sorry,
It was in Origins.
Origins.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
I think it got refined in Odyssey, and I think the Valhalla system was terrible.
I do too. It was subpar at best compared to what
I hunted
Odyssey
them
had.
down just to see how well I do, and I killed all of them. I was
Yeah,
like,
no,
okay.
same. I flew through the Valhalla.
Yeah, for how big of a map that was, like
Yes.
most of the
They were easy to kill.
the narrative by far, 1 through 3, so Brotherhood and Revelations
Yeah.
included, the combination of historical and real time were outstanding.
Agreed.
I think the what is that Unity or Black Flag through Syndicate was the worst of that. I'm kind of bleeding, and I think they're doing a decent job in the Odyssey Origins to kind of revitalize why the modern day is important. I don't think there's no emotional or like existential threat anymore.
Yeah.
They mention it in Valhalla, like the world's shaking apart because like the device to save the world from Assassin's Creed 3 didn't work as well as they thought it was. But
Do you think, I got a question for you. Do you think that's just them getting bad at telling a real time story? Or do you think they are getting data from players that they don't care as much about the real time stuff and they're starting to put less effort into it?
1 second, I forgot something. Hey, Hallie, can you throw the ice into the freezer? Yeah. Thank you. I left the ice out from making drinks, and I'm looking at it melting right now. I just clocked it. I think it's the fact that the story was supposed to end on 3.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
They like if you go look at early interviews, like after 2, they're like, we know where it wants to end. We got like 4 more games, so that would put 3 as the ending of the series, and that's why Desmond died. That's why.
What I am wanting to say the Dharma Initiative off Lost. I know that is so wrong. Who was the party that we were fighting?
Abstergo
Abstergo.
or the Templars? Yeah.
No. Abstergo. After Origins, I have not cared a lick about the Abstergo, the whole here's who you're playing as in like the real world. I just don't care anymore.
Yeah, and that's because you're not an assassin.
Yeah,
and you're just you're a former Abstergo employee that realized that they were doing dirty things. I'm like, you work for the largest company on earth, and you don't realize that they're doing dirty things. Come on.
And that's where I was just trying to piggyback off of your point, Garrett, of like I just don't care about that narrative. Like it's because gone so far the wrong direction. Like what are we even doing these days? I don't know.
They lost. I think Black Flag when they started that whole thing is where it really went sideways because there was so much content that you had to get from third-party sources like the comics and books that without it, the stories didn't make sense. So people like me, I'm not going to read, like I love Assassin's Creed, but I cannot get into reading these books that are maybe 200 pages. So there's no depth to it.
No, that's still a good time. Yeah. That's too long.
200 pages?
200 pages?
Yeah,
That's going to take what, 24 hours? No.
It's not enough.
That's too much. I got a busy life here, people.
Tell it to me. Come on, mister. I don't like reading Zelda subtitles.
I would still listen
to
your
audiobook.
Audiobooks. Yeah. But 200 pages is less than 6 hours.
6 hours is still a decent bit of content.
No, it's not.
Not for a book. For me, it is. Yeah. 6
Just
hours.
You read at a third grade level.
If I have to listen to 6 hours of something, that's too much time.
I'm not listening. Dude, the Game of Thrones books are 52 hours.
Look, if I have to listen to something for 6 hours.
That's at 1.5 speed, I should mention.
That is insane.
Actually, no, I think it's 52 hours. So I think it was like 40 hours at 1.5 speed.
1.5, okay.
Because I listened to everything at 1.5.
6 hours is a speed playthrough on certain games.
That's too much time. But that's a game, and you're not getting a full story. A book should give you so much more than a game.
Agreed.
True.
And so like you lose a lot of that because they force you to go read these third-party sources, and I'm like, nope, I'm out. And
once any type of series, and I'm looking at you, Star Wars, I'm looking at you, Assassin's Creed. Once you start saying, hey, to enjoy this more, you got to read this book or watch this show. I'm like,
look at Marvel. They're
Marvel
TV
Thank
shows.
You, that's what I was
Piss off. Give me some damn movie.
I'm not watching Agatha.
No.
I'm sorry.
No, agreed. I don't care how good it is.
I got to be honest.
Piss poor characters. I'm not watching it.
If you take Agatha as just like a different thing and don't tie it into the rest of it, it's entertaining.
Oh, is it?
I'm not watching it. I'm not watching it.
So far, it doesn't. There's nothing that applies to the rest
Marvel.
of it.
You can pay me and I'll watch it. That's when I'll watch it.
It's a good deal.
Yeah. So
I'll take that deal too.
Pay me and I'll watch it. I'm not watching it on my own.
No. But like they're man, I had a point.
Sorry.
I
threw us a
Agatha threw you off.
Halo, I think was the best at third party sources. The story. The game was the primary source.
I would agree.
Except for the new shows.
Dude, if you take the show
Master Chiefs. We don't talk about Master Chiefs.
Hey man,
I love Master Chief.
Hey,
I agree.
Pablo is a great actor though. You cannot fault the dude.
I don't fault him.
Preach. I don't fault him.
People,
I fault the writers, the directors, everybody else. I do not.
For people who don't read source material, like that you're wrong in the beginning. But I think Halo was the best one at that.
Yeah.
Like, Halo, the games were the source, and the books enriched it and gave you more of that mental thought process and the background story, but it did not affect the main story.
I agree.
That is critical.
I agree.
It can't affect the main narrative. It should only enrich it.
And this is where we can go back to what we said last episode in Star Wars. Like, hey, if you're going to do a trilogy, have one person write it and stop messing with it halfway through the damn series, Rian Johnson. Anyways, all right, let's talk about the bad of, Assassin's Creed.
How much time do we have?
Look, I got all afternoon. I got all day.
So the things that came up, technical issues at launch, specifically Unity, came up a lot. Moving away from stealth and Origins and Odyssey. Very repetitive gameplay. Hey, go climb the tower for the map.
Yep.
Microtransactions. Ubisoft.
In a single player game.
And That's part of the ugly is microtransactions too, and diminished modern day storyline was one of the primary things people did not like that they considered bad in regards to this. So, what is your most hated part of the game?
My most hated part, and really just kind of how AC is transitioned, and this is going to be more so related to Ubisoft in general, which we can kind of talk a bit about Outlaws later, because I'm not that upset about the gameplay transition. Like, I think naturally they're going to have to evolve from the original formula
to more of an RPG.
right?
Yes.
And I'm not even that mad about the microtransactions in a single player game. These big AAA games take 7 years of development. If the way that the whole industry is moving is trending, like they can't just say, I'll take your $60 up front and that's going to last us for the next 7 years. Like, we can't operate that way anymore. So I'm not even mad about that. I am mad if they make it like the level up, kind of how Ubisoft has done, where you pay us $20, we'll let you level up to level 50. I think that's ridiculous. But cosmetics, DLC, season pass, I'm all about it, even if it's a single player game.
A season pass for a single player game? Absolutely not.
Well, the way that they would call it a season pass is you get the 2 DLCs plus these outfits.
I see. Yeah,
it's not like a season pass.
That was the original seasons pass thing. But I still think you should have called it a DLC bundle
or something.
If they had changed the name, I think people would be more
open to it.
Yep. I do want to point out that Unity has either the largest budget or the second largest budget.
Wow. More than Odyssey or Valhalla or
Origins,
Shadows?
Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla were all capped out at $100 million in estimated budget.
That
Unity
blows my mind.
Unity is $70 to $100 million.
Really?
Origins is 80 to 100.
Okay.
So Valhalla, they put at 100 plus because the DLCs were really large. But for base game, they're saying that Unity is almost. You can fit Rogue, Syndicate, and Ace. Ooh, I'm doing math here. Hold on. You can fit Rogue, Syndicate, and the first AC in the same budget.
Really?
As Unity.
Okay.
For it to have that many bug issues, which, by the way, we talked about this last episode. I'm blessed by the gods for bugs. Like, my bugs,
really,
like, I never got the
He's
skeleton.
running the 4090 here, people.
No.
He's like, for some reason, my $4,000 PC doesn't get bugs.
This was when they first came out. So I was playing on 360 or Xbox One, whatever.
Okay.
Like, Cyberpunk, no bugs. Unity.
Look, I'm in the same boat with Cyberpunk. I had a 2080 Ti. My Cyberpunk experience was fine.
I played on Xbox.
There were a couple of game-breaking things.
whatever.
I'm like, y'all just need to fix this shit beforehand. Why do you think the community wants this? But then it got much better.
Yeah,
So I get it.
But like Unity, I had a couple doors that wouldn't open, and I would just turn off the game, turn it back on, and it would be fine. But I never had like the skeleton face stuff where I never had any of that. And I was like, dude, I don't understand what people are so upset about. Like, I've watched videos since in prep for this, and I was like, I don't understand. I never saw any of this other than YouTube videos. Yeah. And so, but like, I get it, like, performance issues and whatever, like, that's huge. Like, and I think again, Ubisoft has played the game as like, hey, we're going to make it and people are going to buy it. And I think Luke Stevens, we talked about him for Outlaws, it's not that way anymore.
No.
I also think we kind of talked about it with Marvel a couple minutes ago. The market is saturated with too much Star Wars, too much Marvel, too much. We don't need, like, as much as I love Halo, and I enjoy the Halo series. I'm counting it as, in my mind, an alternate world of Halo, and I also understand you trying to condense 60 hours of gameplay because you're going to die a lot and you're listening to the story to put that into 8 hours like of content for the general audience. You're gonna have to cut stuff.
Yeah,
there's gonna be a crap top on the floor. And so, like, I think the sin of the Halo series was that the writers didn't read source material.
I would agree.
But I think what Outlaws did poorly is they had game-breaking stuff. The primary game-breaking issue, which was also in Unity, was that pre-game time before official release date, for certain people,
broke. You had to go start
you
over.
had to start all over on release date.
Insane. And it's so crazy that they're like, we're not doing pre-release windows anymore because of how bad the reception was.
And
for
they
that.
should. They should. Look, just to even speak on Ubisoft and the game-breaking stuff that came with Outlaws, I had 2 experiences where Nyx, which is your NPC,
Companion.
your companion.
The
that
best
you-
part of the game.
Yes, yeah, exactly. That you have to use to, hey, I have to go open this door or do something twice in my playthrough. Nyx would not go and open a door, or I came across a point where I had to be completely stealth. I could not alert any enemies. As soon as I walked into the portion where like the enemies were, immediately the alarm goes off and I have to restart the checkpoint.
So frustrating.
That was 4 game-breaking experiences that by the time I got to the 4th one of, oh, hey, great. Now I'm going to an area, the enemy is automatically going to get alerted. No matter if I go in guns a-blazing or super quiet, they're going to know I'm here. That was game-breaking.
Yeah.
I put about 30 hours into it. I'm done. Until Ubisoft fix it, I'm not going back into it.
And you should get your money back for a scenario like that.
Yeah, it was just
it's
game-breaking.
broken.
It was 4 instances of Nyx and the 2, I have to be stealth, but I can't be stealth. No, this is just miserable. I'm done.
Yeah. And I love how Luke called it out in his video where he's reading the email, the internal email from someone on the C-suite where they're like, gamers no longer, we can no longer have the model where we put out a game
With friction.
and
No,
fix
bullshit,
it after. And it's
bullshit.
like the only difference is that people didn't have social media and the way to communicate with each other and say, hey, this is unacceptable. And people are like, yeah, this shouldn't be acceptable. Like we should have a polished product.
He makes a good point in his email where he talks about how, it's so competitive these days. We have to come out with a game that's. I'm like, it's not that competitive. I grew up with games where I put a disc in.
it worked.
It's only competitive internally to the gaming industry. I think, look at Elden Ring, look at GTA. People are clamoring for these games before they were announced so long. Or let's even talk about Elder Scrolls 4,444 or 6 or whatever the next one is. I'm not even sure. It was announced like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
No, it was announced like 6 years ago, dude. It has been forever.
But that's what I'm saying. And people are like, hey, you're working on it. We're okay with the time it's being taken because that's what people want. This
With
idea.
Ubisoft, you guys release 3 games a year. I don't put that shit up. With
But here's the
Ubisoft. Go
issue.
fix it.
But they have
Here's the
they
issue.
have 3 different studios.
Go
Right,
fix
they
it.
have
Go
three-
fix it.
three
You put out
franchises.
at least 3 games a year. Sometimes it's maybe only 2. No.
It's just they have to say, hey, our revenue is going to increase each year
Yeah.
to these shareholders. And it's like, well, if
And
we have
that's why
3
they
games
push.
that come out every 7 years,
Right.
we got to push. We can't have these games get delayed. And I think it's so interesting to see now that Shadows got pushed back because one, their revenue is going to tank for 2024 because
$20 million.
they were
is what
planning
they're estimating.
on they're planning on Shadows and Outlaws, and now it's like
It's only
they really
Outlaws
must
and
feel
down.
that their backs are against the wall. Where it's like if this doesn't land, like who knows?
what are
Maybe
we doing
maybe in a
next?
year Microsoft buys them. Maybe in a
I
year
don't know
Sony
the
buys
next
them.
game. I don't know the
would-
last game Ubisoft came out with that we're all going, let's go buy that. That was the greatest game ever.
For me,
Odyssey
it was
Origins.
Odyssey. For me, it was
Right,
Odyssey. Yeah.
Right. 6,
Which
7
came
years ago.
out 2017, 2018.
Maybe
go.
maybe
And there
Prince
was
of
2
Persia: The
years-
Lost Crown this year, which was
Okay.
like an indie game, but it was
Yeah.
still really good.
I mean, there was 2 years between Odyssey and Valhalla was not nearly as good as
No.
Odyssey.
Everyone was talking
No.
about it because you could play it as a Viking, but
But
it
was
did
also
not
came
get the
out
sales.
Next
also-
gen,
But it also
Right.
came out during COVID when no one had anything to do.
That's
and it was
fair.
one of the
That's
first
fair.
games on next gen where people were like, I got to use my
I got-
system for something.
Yeah.
I will say I did upgrade in the middle of my playthrough, and it was substantial. That
Oh, yeah.
upgrade
Was it? Okay.
Yeah,
I had gotten my 3080 right before that game came out, and I was like, and it looked incredible.
I went from like the Xbox One to the Series
Series
X,
X.
Okay.
Oh,
and
that's a big jump.
it was huge.
Ooh, okay, that's good to know.
So-
on the 2080 and the PS5, they both run great.
Yeah.
Nice job, Ubisoft.
So
Yeah, I
Get
mean,
it right on this next one.
I will say for how much crap we give them, like their games are pretty optimized for PC.
Okay.
Like
I-
they look good.
I'm so glad that's coming back to Steam.
Me too.
Dude,
I think I'm
their
gonna get the
launcher
next one.
Ubisoft
is-
getting their butt kicked is like I knew it was going to happen eventually, but thank God it's already happening.
Yeah, I honestly think the series of Assassin's Creed would die if this game came out because people were already frustrated with Valhalla being just it was too big. It was
I agree.
There was so much going on. Like you had 100 hours in the main storyline, additional like 10 to 20 hours for each DLC. And then you had Mirage, which was basically another DLC. Like I didn't even put Mirage on my list of like budgets because I was so mad at it.
Yeah.
Like it is like yes, you get to go back to this like, oh, we're going back to the old school, but it's on the same mechanics as Valhalla. So you could have played Valhalla the same way if you wanted to. It didn't change anything.
Yeah.
Like-
Here's what I'll say about like because I like the point you brought up, like what, can Ubisoft fail with Shadows? And I think it's such an interesting decision that they made to push this back because November was wide open as far as game releases. Like October is packed. October we have Dragon Age,
Call of Duty, man.
we have Call of Duty.
In November.
I'm pretty sure it's
November
October.
November is typically Call of Duty. It's early November. It's within the first 15 days.
Well, regardless, November was a good spot for a single player.
For single player.
Player game.
Yes, because Call of Duty, yes. It's early November.
Yeah.
This is coming out late or
Yep.
mid-November. There's nothing else that's coming out that's single player. That's fair.
Think about 10 years ago with the AC series. Fans kept saying, love Assassin's Creed, we're going pirate.
Yeah.
Imagine being a samurai. Imagine doing this in
I would
Japan.
have loved it.
We asked this question
But
so
you
much.
can't.
And guess what we eventually
Ghost of Tsushima already exists.
guess what we eventually got? Someone was finally like, hey, there's this huge demand. Let's make an Assassin's Creed like game.
I'm also on I don't feel like there's too much samurai
Agreed.
content.
But the
I will
problem
be
is
fair,
that
because
but everyone's
nothing
going
has
to
been out in
everyone is going to compare Shadows to Ghost of Tsushima.
Agreed,
yes, they are.
agreed,
And
agreed.
what series at this point do you guys think has more loyalty? Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh, yeah.
Tsushima.
No doubt.
By
Same year. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I am very interested by the decision. I'm really interested to see how it sells because
If anything,
February
I
is
thought it was
packed.
pushing to a later year, like this year release. And
Yes,
not
like
going
December.
To next year. Yes, exactly.
Which
Like,
that would have made more sense
Right.
because
To
February is packed.
Yes, we have. I can't name them, but I've
Monster
listened to
Hunter
it.
Wilds,
Yes.
Another game I've
Avowed,
never
or
played.
Avow, not
Yeah.
Avowed.
Yeah.
And
the new
then
MMO or whatever.
that's what people called it. Like the first week, they're like Avowed, and now it's like ingrained in my mind. And now Shadows. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, but see, there's people like me. I don't even know what Avowed is or Avowed.
Avowed.
I won't play them.
Oh, dude, it's
I
by
won't
the
play
people who made Outer World. Now they're making like
okay, I won't play it. Outer World.
I'll
Was
play
terrible.
it.
I
I'll play a
won't
day
play it.
one.
I
I
won't
can't
play
wait
it.
for it. It looks awesome.
Outer Worlds was terrible.
If you love it, you get me into it, Sam. I'll go buy
Outer
it.
Worlds is
talking
like an
about- you're
average
talking-
85.
you're
People loved it.
You're talking about Obsidian
Yeah. Or no.
or
Yeah.
or Outer Wilds.
Obsidian. No, Outer World. Obsidian's next
So
game.
okay, yeah, that game was horrendous.
Well,
The
Which,
storyline was.
Garrett,
So
I'll
just
let
so
you know.
You are one of the very few.
few.
I know,
I have
I know.
heard
that
say it
opinion.
because I've even tried to get into it. I did not love it, so I'm right there with you. I didn't love it; it was okay, but it people loved it. So that's where I'm not going to go
So
talk
good.
shit
because
like,
I think people loved it because it was just shitting on Bethesda the entire time.
No, it wasn't.
I don't know.
Yes,
I
the
didn't play it for
entire storyline is anti-capitalist Bethesda because all the Obsidian individuals built New Vegas and then got fired. That's the entire developer core of Obsidian. Is New
Even if it
Vegas
is still like the
developers.
storyline
people are
is
talking
good.
No,
The gameplay is good. All like the characters' dialogue was very witty. It was a great game, and that's why I reviewed so well.
I think that might be my issue is that everyone was trying to be comic relief. Everyone was witty.
I mean, it was. I get that complaint. It was very campy. Like a lot of jokes were always being made, but I enjoyed that.
I think
Like I like the Zombie Lands. I like the Deadpools. I like that type of humor. That's always.
I do too, but there's like even Deadpool and Wolverine had an emotional heartbeat.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes they trample it on it, but like at least it had one. I don't think Outer Wilds. So this is a hard tangent. I don't think Outer Wilds had that. And for me, like I think the gameplay just got really repetitive. Like you travel, it was the same thing. You'd run in, do the same thing, run out, and I also like with open world games like that. The fetch quest. Like I detest fetch quest. And hey, Ubisoft, since we're talking about shit on you. I swear to God, if I have an escort quest and they don't walk as fast as I walk,
as me,
or force me to walk the same speed, I will stab that person in the back at least once. I will
It's
try.
not that
Escort
hard to
quests
do,
need to
guys. It's
die.
not that hard to
They
do.
just need to die.
Yeah,
They're
like,
not fun.
Yeah.
Games should be fun. That's not fun.
NPC needs to run as fast as I can or a little bit faster. Otherwise, we're wasting our fucking time here. All right, we're all adults. We're trying to live our life. Let us get through the game.
I also really do want game developers to come up with an adult setting. And I don't mean like they're showing like the naughty bits. I'm saying, oh, hey, it looks like you haven't played in 3 months. Do you want a refresher on how to play this game?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I do.
I like that. I just
That's
love the
why
naughty
you
bits.
should play Final Fantasy 16. because this is the first game I've ever seen to do it. But every time you log back in, it has such an incredible system. They need more praise for this, but it literally gives you like a perfect summary, like Spark Notes of, hey, this is what happened last time you played.
That's what the
It's
PS5
incredible.
does. Anytime I log into a new PS5 game that I haven't played in 6 months, they go, hey, Carter, this is the last quest you stopped on. This is where you need to go. This is what you could do to maybe just pass that quest or just keep moving.
Oh, you're talking about like the hints and stuff like that?
Yeah. So like
Wait, what is that? Final Fantasy?
no, that's just PS5.
PS5.
Like the PS5 has that.
Yeah.
And it's decent. It's basically like if you're trying to go tackle a what is it, gamer tag or like like
Trophy.
yeah, we want to go get this trophy. You can do the same thing on the PS5, and they set it up to where, hey, I haven't logged in 2 or 3 months. Just set me up to what I need to go do next. It's nice.
So moving on to the ugly of
We got plenty to talk about.
Assassin's Creed. Seasons pass for single player games. Microtransactions. Innovation fatigue. I like how delays is on here. Again, fan expectations.
I'm not mad at delays.
And cultural misrepresentation. And specifically that hit comes directly with the fire at Notre Dame. Okay. There was a lot of media that they did never really, Ubisoft specifically, never corrected.
I'm okay with that. Every game that you load up with an Assassin's Creed says that this is a quote unquote historical accurate game. We don't know if we're going to be 100% accurate. We're just trying to give you good gameplay.
Within the fire of Notre Dame, there's a lot of media around them saying, people saying that Ubisoft took such detailed scans that they could help Notre Dame rebuild. Oh. It's not true. It's not even close to being true. They never even said that, but they never didn't say it. After people because that is a story that has been in canon in my brain since that fire. And this year, I'll post the link in the show notes. But they're still getting credit for that, and not the scientists who actually took like 10. Like let's just pretend that we're talking about pixels. They've got all the details in there, but Ubisoft took a like photorealistic design. We'll say it's like 1 part per million pixels for the picture. The scans that actually needed to be done that were done by the actual scientists were like 200 million parts per million. Like there's such granularly detailed 3D scans as comparative to Ubisoft. And so like, I think it's a lot of that, like, oh, hey, you're getting a lot of like praise for this, but you're not telling people like, hey, let's point this direction to where it belongs. And I think that's really a just general failure of like, I think a lot of people, most companies, like, hey, we didn't say it. We're not going to lean into it. We're not going to lean against it. But I think that's just downright ugly because like apparently the scientists who were doing the work lost funding because they thought Notre Dame was going to get help from Ubisoft.
Yeah, that's shitty. But at the end of the day, it's a video game.
Yeah,
it's not a historical.
But I again, delays is on this list, and I don't know if I'm against delays.
I'm not against delays. I'm not.
Like,
I think the only one who thinks delays are ugly are shareholders.
I think
executives.
Yeah, revenue.
I think delays, if they're well communicated, like this one, we're a month out from when the game was supposed to be released.
Yeah.
About 2 months.
It's disappointing. Like we were so it's part of the reason why we chose this was to talk about this before it came out.
Right.
And so like I'm super excited. Like I said, it's my favorite game series. I'm really excited to see where this world's going to go because we also lost our last at the end of Valhalla, we lost the protagonist in that one. And I swear to God, if we get Basil as our protagonist or Loki, oh my God, I'm gonna be so mad because
Don't do it.
But like a delay that's been well communicated as to, hey, this is where we are in the state of the game. This is why we're delaying it, and it's well reasoned, well talked out. Like I'm cool with that. Like even if you give it like Elder Scrolls 6,000 or 6, hey, give me a state of like where you're at and what your ambition is. Give me like a roadmap, and you don't have to put timelines on the roadmap. Just phase 1, phase 2, kind of like what our city does with repairing a road. It's not accurate, but like that's something.
They give us some hope.
Yeah, but it tells us like what they're working on, and that's what I would love to see. Like, and I'm not expecting game developers to do that, but I would love to see it if, hey, we are going to delay it. Here's why, and you give us like a snapshot roadmap of where they're at and where they wanted to be by release date and stuff like that. Like I'm cool with delays. But
I like how they refunded pre-orders though.
Same.
I only reason I will refund my pre-order is to move it to Steam.
Ooh,
Well, no, they
I
refunded every
that.
pre-order, or at least that's what they said.
You have to go and request it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so they didn't do it automatically.
No.
You still have to go and request. Okay, that's good to know.
Because like I have no emails being like, hey, you're just been refunded. Because this is, I know people are like, don't pre-order games. Look, I'm gonna pre-order a game because
I'm pumped to play it. Yeah.
well, I plan on playing. I'm gonna buy it anyway.
Right.
And two, I might like some of the Outlaws pre-order stuff. Was like the cosmetic stuff was terrible. Like that wasn't why I pre-ordered it. I pre-ordered because like I was like, oh, I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
But like the Valhalla. Or not Valhalla, Assassin's Creed Shadow stuff. Like that one looks pretty good. Like you got a DLC for the pre-order, and typically the DLC comes out later or whatever. But you know, I'm cool with the pre-orders, and so, but I wanted to like, granted this is significantly changed, but Outlaws had a Seasons Pass, which we've talked about outside of this or even on this, just the idea of a Seasons Pass on a single player game that has no future of ever having like additional DLCs or like just something continual. There's no point in a Seasons Pass in a free player game. Just sell me the DLC. But then you have turn around and you have Veilguard, which I didn't know was a game until just the other day.
We mentioned it last week on while we were playing something.
And I like it has no Seasons Pass, and I didn't like Dragon Age is a massive single player storyline. Like I think in general,
Well, EA's kind of I think they are trying to prevent being in the position that Ubisoft is right now.
Yeah.
They had some they're changing their whole process as well, where they would force you to buy it on the EA store, and they're like, okay, you can buy it at Steam, but you still got to use the EA Play app. And now they're saying, no, none of that. It's going to be $59. So I think they're trying to win back. And their last two games were so bad.
what were the last
BioWare's last two games, which is Andromeda and then Anthem. So they're trying to win back
bless
favor.
Anthem. God bless.
If those two games sold well, they would have had season passes. They would have done the whole
But see,
shit.
I liked Anthem.
I liked Anthem up until I got about 5 hours in and was like, what the hell am I doing
Garrett
here?
loves Anthem and hates Outer Worlds. You heard it here.
No. See, that's the thing is that Anthem. I thought the gameplay was so fun. Like
It was.
For an hour, and you realize this is it.
And then I couldn't hit connection. I was
You
playing
couldn't
on
connect.
I couldn't.
see,
So I
again,
was playing on Xbox.
I never ran into that
Right.
issue.
So I pre-ordered Anthem, got around 4 or 5 buddies to pre-order. We were all pumped. Dude, it looks you were Iron Man.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it was
Who
great.
wasn't excited for that? BioWare's
Right.
next game.
Okay, great. Everyone's gonna play this character. I could not connect to a lobby for 2 months before we actually got into a gameplay. And this was back when I was playing on Xbox Series X. So like it was still, the most competitive what they had in the current moment, and it's still just it's like at this point I've gone back. I've gotten Anthem on PC.
Oh, I mean, the servers are down, so it doesn't matter.
It's been a little better, but it's still just nah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And again, and granted, Anthem came out while I was
I wanted Anthem to win
prepping
so
for
bad.
deployment. I think so. Like
I was rooting for him.
so, like in my mind, like it might be better just because of like what was going on in life.
I think if you played 20 games and you're like, I'm gonna pick up Anthem as my 21st, you'd be like, this is literally terrible.
Okay.
After the first hour.
Yeah.
Because I remember like I hated
just
having
bought
to
it
go
thank you,
back
guys. It came out
to
for
run around the
$4.
city to go and like get new quest lines, but like it was like I guess it's kind of similar to WoW and everything.
It felt like they were gonna say we want to be Destiny, like we wanted to make this like a
Yes.
live service, but they said zero content. Just go out in the world and shoot stuff. This is fun.
Guys, it came out for $4 3 weeks ago on the PC. I got it.
How?
I played for 30 minutes and said, fuck this.
Yeah.
Like, it was still that
Wait,
bad.
the servers are down.
$4.
You can still play
It still
offline.
came out.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And maybe that's what I
You
always
can
did.
join a party.
Maybe.
Like, you can play together. I tried to find a group.
And maybe that's what I always did because I might have always played offline.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, I got to see when it came out now. But because that might exactly tell me
2018?
I
Anthem
can't remember. I think I was still in school.
2019.
Okay.
Oh, I
late
wasn't.
2019.
So
It's
I
before
was
the
graduated.
Right before the pandemic.
Dude, I thought it was way older than that. But yeah, but no, I agree. I think the whole
We all forgot about
I
it.
wanted
Garrett.
it.
We all forgot
Garrett,
about
I
it.
was rooting for Anthem, dude. I paid money after. I paid $4 for it afterwards. And it's
stop
still-
giving them money.
Sure.
But no, I think in general, like kind of like streaming services, gaming services were like, oh, we're going to create our own platform.
Sure.
And EA's had theirs for a long time, their own like achievement system and stuff like that. Like there was a program back in the day called Raptor, RAPTR, and it would keep track of all your achievements, no matter where it came from.
Yep.
And it was super cool to see like what you had, and but you still got your achievements on Xbox for EA games and on Steam for Ubisoft games at that time. Them moving those things away, like I'm fine. Like have your own platform. Let me like load up and then hit that. Like it's annoying.
That bothers me.
It's so annoying, but I'll take that if I can still have Steam achievements.
I mean, yes, if we're saying the lesser of two evil, but what I'll take is Ubisoft getting their rear spanked.
Yes.
Not selling anything for Outlaws, and they're like, we got to do everything we can to make people happy.
So we've talked a lot about Shadow's delay, and so what do you think the actual future of Assassin's Creed and with the delay? Do you think the delay will be good for the series, or do you think it's too little, too late in a series that people have grown tired of?
I think it's going to do well. If I'm being completely honest, I think the delay is great for it. Besides the day, the month, I'm a little confused about February, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe
they'll push it up to January.
Maybe.
There's been times like that where it's happened.
Maybe. I mean, but also like before holiday sales would have been really great. But I think overall, like delays, in my opinion, like you've said, delays are good for the industry. We want a more polished game. We shouldn't be okay with this standard of buying a game half broken and expecting it to get fixed later.
Agreed.
I think it's got plenty of time before Yote. I think Yote, if I had to guess, is going to be November 2025, December, September. I think it's going to be really late in the year before we see that. So plenty of time to space them out. I think it's going to sell well. I think people are going to enjoy it. From what I've seen, it looks really promising. I think all the drama about the historical inaccuracies, I think, is just people being...
I think it's a little overhyped.
I think it's just people being upset to be upset.
I mean,
Yeah.
people. Shogun won like 30 Emmys or some crazy amount.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's a made up story.
Right.
Well, the thing is, they're claiming it was accurate for Shadows, is what people are upset about.
Right.
Well, the guy, I can't remember his name.
Yeah,
He does
UK or
exist.
whatever.
He does exist in real life,
exactly.
and that's
Yes.
exactly what they've done in previous games. They took
Exactly.
real characters and they fleshed out a story that they don't know enough of,
Sure.
or that could have had more potential.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's dumb, all that drama. So I think that's going to go over the rug, and I think it's going to sell well. I think people are going to enjoy it, and I think we're going to get DLC for it, and I think it's going to be a good move for Ubisoft.
What do you think is going to happen beyond
I mean,
Shadows?
I think personally, I think the push is good. Look, they just saw the Star Wars game Outlaws. It did not do well. Just push it. If the game's not fully baked, keep going for a little bit. But then at the end of the day, I cannot think off the top of my head the last time Ubisoft came out with a decent launch. Just sell at this point. Like, you guys haven't done anything in 5-6 years. You obviously aren't relevant in today's time. It's
Mass Effect 3?
That's EA.
Garrett, Mass Effect 3 was when I was in college.
BioWare, sorry. Yeah.
Mass Effect...
no,
was 10
sorry.
years ago.
I was trying to think
right.
of like...
Either way...
Even still, Andromeda is the last thing we saw in Mass Effect.
And that was...
The storyline was crazy. And again, I had so few bugs compared to everybody else having bugs. And I also think like the face not matching the voice is never really bad. I'm like I'm half deaf, so it's fine.
No, I'm right there with you. Like, even Mass Effect 3 was fine. Andromeda...
Mass Effect 3 was great. That's what I was thinking of the last good thing they did. But
I don't know.
Ubisoft...
I don't know the last thing Ubisoft did that I'm like, oh, I want to go pay actual $60 for this, get this on the release. Everything else has just been, I hope this is decent.
Right.
I hope this is okay.
I think Origins might have been the last one.
Guys, just go sell. You're owned by a family. Who cares? Go put it into some investor company. Make them make you more money. It's time to move on to something else.
All right. What company? If you could choose any company that you think would do well for...
I can't name one right now. I don't know.
We'll narrow it down to the Assassin's Creed story. And it can't be Sucker Punch because they've already got their own IP in that same timeline.
Mm-hmm. The thing is, I don't think a sale... I agree with you. Like, in a dream world, a new leadership is great for that because they have gone...
But not the
lazy,
the family who's been owning it for
so
20
lazy
years.
with innovation, but it's like Microsoft is not going to buy them.
No.
Because they just had to go through this whole legal battle to get Activision. If they get Ubisoft, like... They'll probably go to court again, so I'm sure they're trying to avoid that.
I mean, that's it.
Sony's not going to buy
owns-
them.
Oh, so many IPs.
So many IPs.
I don't know who.
Sony's not going to buy them. They have Ghost.
Just get your shit together.
So it's got to be some like Saudi company. That's going to be worse.
If we're selling just the IP for Assassin's Creed, who'd you want to buy it? We're not talking about Ubisoft's entire collection.
today.
You're saying who I think is a realistic buy, or who?
No,
Who's
who-
my dream developer?
Who's my
who-
dream?
dream
CD
developer?
Projekt Red or Naughty Dog?
Probably exactly the
Yeah, I
same.
mean, that
Yeah.
would be my vote today. In today's time,
CD
CD
Projekt
Projekt
Red
Red
is
or
who I
Naughty
would
Dog.
say.
Yeah.
But I don't want them to not make The Witcher in the next Cyberpunk game.
No, I agree.
I don't want
And-
them.
and
I-
that's
I'm
exactly where
more
I'm at.
interested
I'm
in
like,
that world than I am
I'm more
Assassin's
interested
Creed.
in The Witcher. I preach.
Yeah.
So, okay, we're on the same boat. Yeah.
Would you take a Assassin's Creed over Naughty Dog does Uncharted, right?
No.
Absolutely not.
No. I'd still take
AC is
Uncharted.
probably it's
'Cause
like
you-
it's a
they
mid.
do what they
at
do
this
so
point.
good, and that's where I just want them to help out on
It
the
was so
shit.
it was so repetitive.
Bro.
Naughty Dog, the Uncharted.
Yeah, he had to clarify because AC is the most repetitive series.
I know,
I've
that's
seen.
what I'm saying.
And
AC
Uncharted is
exactly,
incredible.
exactly. That's
My,
what I'm
the
like.
gameplay might be
Uncharted is a
repetitive,
great
but the
story.
story is
Again,
so engaging.
But okay, but
who
okay,
doesn't want to play
actually-
Mission Impossible the game?
You know what? The Mission Impossible was a game, and it was outstanding.
Sign me up.
It was a great game. There's a whole mission inside the Russian embassy that I still run in my
Ooh,
brain.
Okay.
Okay, the point was Mission Impossibles are so fun.
Um,
Uncharted is essentially Mission Impossible the game.
Yeah.
I'm not
Garrett,
seeing how you're getting
no,
there,
no, no.
but
Garrett, let me ask you this: would you play?
because I'm
is
trying.
there a developer?
There is a girl. There's a love interest. That's
Okay,
all.
thank you, James Bond.
Yeah, I mean,
is there a
is
developer
James Bond and Mission
besides
Impossible that
Naughty
different?
Dog and CD Projekt Red that you would rather take over Assassin's Creed? BioWare 15 years ago, 10 years ago.
Not even Bioware, because that's not Bioware's lane. Bioware's
You're right.
lane is
It-
like
it's-
you
you're
build
right.
these
You're right.
relationships.
You're right. BioWare hasn't done shit since Mass Effect 3.
Any developer I would pick would mean that developer has to stop
Bethesda.
making the series that they're making, and I don't want to
And-
make that trade.
I
I don't
agree.
think
I
AC
agree.
is that great of
I think
a
Ubisoft
series.
can keep
Bethesda.
doing.
Oh,
And because Bethesda
I don't know
makes
if I agree with
two
you.
Like, how
games.
can I
don't
make
agree with that.
AC
It's
worse?
it's a completely different game. It is so.
No. See, that's what I'm
It's
saying.
so different.
But that's my point. Is that Bethesda makes what? Elder Scrolls and what's the other one?
well, are we talking
Fallout.
about Bethesda Studios? Yeah, because it's those two.
Yeah.
And Starfield.
Right.
The one game.
Which, I mean,
I'm pumped for the deals.
I don't think they can make a good game anymore.
I'm not getting it. I'm excited to watch some content on it.
Greg Miller is excited to play it.
Dude, Greg Miller, listen.
I don't know who this
Greg,
is.
good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck.
I don't think Bethesda can really make a
But
great
I
game
see. I
anymore.
think. But I think.
don't
it's
so
my
either.
hot take.
But
They-
I
their
think
po-
Bethesda tells a
yeah,
great
their
story,
recipe's
and that's
gold.
what Assassin's Creed has always been, a great story. And I don't disagree that CD Projekt Red or Naughty Dog can't tell a great story, because that's what's kept me involved in their games. That's what kept me involved in Uncharted and Assassin's Creed is the story, even through the repetitive bits, which we all
in
agree.
my mind, it's like when we're talking about narratives and games, I think AC is like 6 or 7. And
It's
I
low.
think
It's
there's
low
so
in
many
the
other
total.
series that I'm like, this is a good story.
It is low now, but it didn't used to be.
Even the Ezio trilogy, like I enjoy the
Same.
series, the story a lot,
Subpar.
but I was never like, this is one of the best stories in gaming.
I agree with that, but I think if you combine modern day and the historical, that's when it became a
Okay.
better story.
And that's what I think Shadows has potential. To be
Yes.
clear, that's why I think Shadows is going to do well, because I agree. I think the new formula for their gameplay is fun. We just got to nail the story and the side content, which I thought Odyssey, out of any of the games, is the closest to doing that, which is why it's
Yeah.
my favorite of the series.
Okay. So, favorite game out of the series before we move into the lightning round?
Odyssey and 2.
Odyssey. For me, it's Odyssey. Valhalla was a good time. Had a couple issues running on the PC because it kept wanting to white screen, but
Yeah.
It
I mean,
was-
Greek mythology, Greece,
I mean,
like
yeah.
I do appreciate
Cassandra. I loved Odyssey.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
Cassandra was definitely the better protagonist
Yes.
as compared to whatever the dude's
It's,
name is.
Not Mykonos, was it?
Mykonos is where they're from. I want to call him.
I can't remember his name. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, she was by far
Yeah, I
the
like
better.
Cassandra a lot.
Cassandra was good. I do like how the game has used like the pieces of Eden and basically used their like mythology to create these big bads. But I do think like AC2 fighting the Pope. What's his name? There's a whole TV show about them.
Francis.
No, it starts with a B.
Bartholomew.
No, There's a whole TV show about them.
We know
on
the
Showtime.
Pope.
Yeah, the Pope. When you have to fight the Pope when he has this the scepter, like that's a much better fight than fighting these giant demigods or the giant gods.
Agreed.
And,
The
would
most
agree.
memorable
I would
boss
agree.
fight for me is AC2.
Yeah.
Okay. I agree.
and
Alexios is the
Alexios.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
What was their nickname? Metheos?
Metheos.
Well,
Yeah, yeah.
that just means
But that's
mercenary.
That means mercenary.
Okay.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
It's just mercenary.
Yeah.
Still cool.
Metheos is mercenary in Greek.
Ooh.
Yeah. So,
Fun fact.
There we go.
favorite AC game?
Odyssey.
Odyssey was so good.
Odyssey opened up it to me. Odyssey bridged we're trying to be an RPG and a just stealth game and just made it work. I love the fact I could throw the spear, add a couple more points to it, go kill 3 or 4 more guys, and then just load up, do something else. I don't know.
I don't disagree with you. Out of the newer ones, I think Origins. But again, I think that might also be because of a mythology preference.
Right. I've gone back and tried to play
and I think that
Origins,
is a
and
great
I
point
do
you bring
too.
up.
I do too.
Like, what is your mythology preference? Because
For me, it's
Greek. And that's why Odyssey hits so
For
hard.
me,
yes.
it's Norse.
There you go.
Right.
But I don't like Valhalla was
That's
just
crazy.
too big.
Valhalla was way
And
too
also,
big.
I think their whole like they're trying to turn Valhalla into 8 games. Like you had the roguelike, you had you had to take the potion to go back in time thing, and to see. And I was like, this is
There's too much.
there's just too much. Just tell me a story. Like give me some cutscenes for like the back in the day stuff.
Yep.
Like, and I think that's what Origins did well was like this. There was a mystery to the mythology still. Like you didn't know it was the apples of Eden the whole time.
I also didn't love and you guys, I would like to talk about this for a second. Did you guys appreciate whenever they went to Valhalla, and it wasn't a side mission anymore. It was just like a mission within the area you were at, where like it popped up on the screen and you had to go figure out what was going on. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Are you talking about like
the side missions, all the side stuff? It didn't pop. So like,
yeah, it gave you like a circle and you had to go find stuff.
yes. Whenever you played Origins and Odyssey, it popped up as, hey, this is now a side quest. Go do this. Go talk to this person. This is where you need to go next. Valhalla was much more of a, hey, go here. You read this little note. Oh, the polar bears killed us. Okay, cool. We have to go kill the 4 polar bears way over here on the other side of the map. But we don't know that that we need to do that. And then you do it. Cool. We get the side mission accomplished.
Yeah,
I liked it at first, and then it got to be a little too much.
I only enjoyed it when I turned off all the mission quest.
Okay.
When I played, because I in the beginning of any game, I always just try and play like as immersive as I can. So like, hey, you're just running to this area,
And that's fair.
and that's fun for about 5 to 10 hours.
Yeah.
And after that, I'm like, okay, this is
Tell
getting
me where to go.
No,
Just tell me where to
that's
go.
how
And
I
I
feel.
and I
Look,
feel the
same way.
I got a certain number of hours I can play during the day. I'm like, just show me
what
who I need to go talk to, and like you guys are making it way too complicated
Yeah.
on
So
what I need. To
again, an adult mode,
do. Yeah. Yes.
an adult with family and a full-time job mode.
I got a question for you guys. What do y'all think is the highest rated AC game?
Let me pull up my
I'd probably go Odyssey.
Think Odyssey?
Black Flag.
Black Flag is the second highest. 2 is actually the highest.
Yeah, I was.
Two?
Yeah, but I was surprised that Black Flag was number 2.
I'm not.
believe that.
People loved Black Flag.
I'm hoping for I was hoping for a Black Flag remake here
Nope.
at the little PlayStation.
I would.
That would be fun.
I know.
That's the way they would be.
Rumor, it was a year ago. Rumor was it Black Flag was going to be a
Really?
remake, and we haven't seen anything since.
But I think they decide not to just because again they're just overwhelmed. So,
Well, also they're overwhelmed, but it's like they want these new mainline games to hit so hard. If they're throwing in a random remake in between, it's like you're gonna get
Who's going to go get
fatigue.
I mean,
Yeah,
You're gonna get fatigue.
honestly, just give it to an AI and
I'd
just
go play
be
Black
like,
Flag.
hey, we had the
Exactly.
AI refresh it and see
Yep.
how it does.
Yep.
And just like
knows?
and that's how you announce it. Be like, hey, we used AI as a test of AI to see, because you can use AI to upscale movies
And
now.
honestly, that's not a bad idea. Charge it $20, $35. I'd go pay for
Yeah,
that.
charge $20 and be
Yeah.
like, hey, this is an AI upgraded. We do know it works, but there'll be no updates.
It's still the same game.
But
Just-
you can turn off the AI updates and play the original game. And so like you just let the AI do its thing. See that's what I think AI should do. These tasks that like, look, we don't need to charge a lot for it. Let's just do it. I think one thing that was completely underrated, and I forgot about this until I looked at the list, which is because of where they released this game. When Rogue and Syndicate came out. Rogue's final scene is the first scene of Syndicate, but Rogue being on the 360 only and Syndicate being on the Xbox One only, I think ruined, because Rogue only has 2 million in sales in 2014, and because everybody had already moved on to the next console. I kept my 360 just to play Rogue because like I love this game.
Did they not come out with a console version like afterwards? Okay,
not until relatively recently. You can get it on Steam right now, but like legitimately, the last assassination you do is the opening scene for your character is your dad dying from the guy in Rogue, because in Rogue you play as a Templar, not as an assassin. And that to me is the most underrated like dual game I think of all time.
Nice.
Which I will, in all fairness, on my old Switch, Assassin's Creed Rogue was the highest rated Assassin's Creed that you could go buy from the.
Whoa.
Yeah.
There you go.
That you could buy from the old Switch store, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if it's still there, but a year and a half ago it was. So.
All
I
right.
bet you it's still there.
Yeah.
Well, let's get into this lightning round as my batteries on these cameras are about to die. We had it running before you showed up. So, coolest outfit for Assassins.
Oh.
I love Valhalla. What's his name?
Eivor?
Ezio?
Avar, yeah. I think he just looks sick.
He does. But I think of all the like Assassin's Hood ones, the Colonial Assassins is the best.
Okay.
Favorite weapon?
How can it not be the stealth blade?
I think the stealth blade combined with the tomahawk from 3 is by far the best little combo you got going on.
I'd agree. My answer was Stealth Blade.
Yeah.
So
sick.
if you had to choose one of the games to live in, which one would it be?
It'd be Odyssey.
Odyssey.
Odyssey. For
Dude,
me.
that's like a dream to live in.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. Best villain.
Pass.
I'll pass on this one. The more I think about it, I think the Pope.
I don't know. I liked it. So the one that we got in Valhalla was pretty fun. The chick who betrayed you there at the end, because she was on the other side, that was fun. Yeah, pass.
I got like 10 hours into Valhalla, so.
Well, she betrayed. Yeah, we'll go into it afterwards.
Who was it? What?
She had a boy haircut, like cut right here. She betrayed your brother, who was like within the same clan that you grew up with.
Oh yeah.
Cut the arm off.
Oh no, he lost the tear. He lost that in a different fight.
But he was still in.
Yeah,
he was her prisoner. You still had to kill her. I don't know. You still had to go fight her.
You didn't know. You could have been with her if you were talking to the same person.
I fought her.
Merging decisions.
I killed her.
Or
I put my assassin blade through her, and like we went and rescued. The guy.
Dude, it's been so long.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. Ezio or Bayek?
Ezio.
What?
Hey, if you could remove one game from the series, what would it be?
Only one?
Only one.
I don't know.
The Chinese port that came through for like Assassin's Creed China.
I think all of the Russian.
Have you seen it? It's like a third person game.
It's a platform. It's
Yeah.
a side scrolling platform.
Oh.
It's China, and there's one for Russia as well.
Yeah.
I didn't even bring them.
I thought
into
you were
this.
just making that up.
No.
I didn't even bring them into this list because again, like they serve no purpose to the story. I would remove. I'd probably remove Unity.
I probably would too, but I hear good things about Unity. I just think it was bad timing.
Yeah. Yeah. There goes that. Hey, this camera now. So and then last question. Do you prefer the old linear or the RPG styles?
I think if I'm just talking about AC as a whole, I'm more fond of the linear Ezio trilogy. It's just always what I'm going to enjoy more. I think if I were to play one right now, you were to say, hey, here's 2 new games that just came out today, modern day graphics, modern day story. One with the new, open world formula, stealth, and face-to-face combat versus the old one. I'm taking the new one. That's just kind of where I feel like games are at right now.
I mean, I'll sit on the fence. I'll go open world. My issue with Mirage, it wasn't open world enough. It was one town.
Yeah.
Go do your stuff in the town. Yeah, you had a whole world in the last 3 that came out that you could go kill stuff in.
Mirage was a disappointment.
So that's where I I loved the open world RPG ask of it. Just lean onto that in the new one. Let us go in all of China, go be a samurai or an assassin, do whatever we want, have a good time. So
Cool. Well, then that has been the Assassin's Creed episode of Epic Screen Time.
It's a banger.
And it was actually really good. I mean, like we had a lot of like
was.
actual like pertinent information to talk about. So the next one will be the Aliens Halloween edition. So that one will come out in Halloween. So we got a little bit of time in between them. But thank you all for listening and watching. You can follow us on Spotify and YouTube, and we'll catch you soon.
Peace.